All hail, message from Derpwood O'Grady. Thank you very much for the screenshot. You know who you are. Let's read this together. Isn't this funny? Think about it. If your father was being openly accused online of being a child unaliver, a rug manufacturer / dealer, a kitty diddler, liar, and thief, and was totally innocent, 4 exclamation points, would you try to defend him in any way you could? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 question marks. This is what my son is doing, and despite the hateful lies podcasters are spreading and idiots are repeating and believing to attract views and subscriptions for a few dollars, myself and my son have told the total truth through it all, and have suffered huge damages because of stupid, ignorant, hateful people. Thank God for our friends. On Thursday, November 13th, the major crimes investigator John Donaldson was given information by myself, which is Darren Geddes, a.k.a. Derpwood O'Grady, and a professional private investigator. I'll just bet. Anybody can be a PI. That should enable them to solve the disappearance of Jack and Lily Sullivan. Well, I'll just bet you do. Yeah, you've leaked all of the information they need to solve this case, that's for sure. So it's not out in left field here. They've lied themselves into a position that's going to force the RCMP to slap some pearly silver bracelets on you. Clink, clink. Tighten them up, boys. Let me repeat that for you. Old Derpwood says that should enable them to solve the disappearance of Jack and Lily Sullivan. Oh, a mystery, eh? The disappearance. The RCMP should have solved this issue months ago. What does that say? Earl's in the way there. If the RCMP do not making arrests of at least some of the people responsible for this mess within 1 week, 7 days, I want the tape of my interview with them on November 13th released to the public, unredacted, in full. They need to start being accountable. Oh, here's Derpwood O'Grady, Darren Geddes trying to capture some headlines, trying to garner some attention again. Here we go again. Oh, boy. You tried to accost the RCMP. You know, Mike is going to laugh at this. I'm sure he's already on it, but listen, let's take this down. The PLAIDS framework. Let's take and break it down and look at what he leads with and what he repeats. His priority. Derpwood says, think about this. If your father was being openly accused and so forth about being or bringing harm towards a child, in other words, rug manufacturing and being a dealer and a chomo or diddler or nonce, he says you would try to defend him in any way you could. So this is the number one priority, is to force sympathy for himself and Jordan with this rhetorical questioning. He's guilting the audience into defending him. That's what he's trying to do. He says, this is what my son is doing. Myself and my son have told the total truth. Suffered huge damages. Talking about suffering huge damages. This is Derpwood's victimhood and his family loyalty. You know, Jack and Lily, the children, what this is all about, are mentioned last and only after and in the same breath as talking crap about the RCMP in the circumstance. And he comes with this tape demand. So he's burying this helpful claim after a bit of self-defense. You know, the deception indicator is self-preservation over solving the case. The kids in this circumstance are just props to Derpwood. Now, there's a few small quotes here where the truth slips through, also known as leakage. So he says rug manufacturer / dealer, and the leakage is he's listing this so prominently. He admits it's plausible / known. Why include it if you're totally innocent? He goes on to say, the RCMP, in my opinion, should have solved this issue months ago. This is leaking that he believes the case is solvable, and he knows why it isn't. Why the protection there? What would you be protecting, Derpwood? Quote is, the people responsible for this mess, which is plural, and mess minimizes the unaliving or the event that happened and the cover-up as mere inconvenience to him. This unverified November 13th claim, there's zero evidence that this interview he mentioned took place. And by the way, not to mention, did a quick search for this cop, and it seems like you're just making up a name, dude. You just made up a name, Derpwood. He doesn't even exist. There's no record of any John Donaldson working as an investigator with the Major Crimes Unit in the RCMP. Why don't you get a badge number there, tough guy? And why wouldn't you record all of this for your own safety? Everybody now in 2025 has phones that you can just hit record and document this whole interview from your perspective, all of this information. Why the privacy? Why the suggestion? You're such a liar, Derpwood. What is missing here? What's he avoiding? I guess there's not really any specific denial. For example, like I never sold rugs to Danny. Maybe that's Jordan. He's avoiding testable lies. He's avoiding this Thursday visit, Jordan's house, the mention of tools and backpacks. So the core timeline from his own prior statements are completely ignored. This is new in this sense. He's avoiding what the information he's talking about actually is, isn't he? This vague hero claim. This vague hero claim with no substance. That's typical Derpwood. Derp. Here you go again all over Facebook for the RCMP claiming that you have all of this significant information. This has been a cycle for you, Derpwood. They should just slap the cuffs on you again. Didn't they come already talk to you because of this and you said that's never going to happen again? I'm sorry, officers. In the CBC, they said that you accosted the cops, started becoming aggressive. They were going to tase your butt. Why wait until November 13th, 2025? 6+ months? You guys were silent? And all of a sudden you're bringing forth some solving info? Come on, dude. You're deflecting to the RCMP or podcasters like Mike and others. You never address your own contradictions. Never, ever. What is it old Derpwood wants? Moving on to intentions. The quote, think about this. His goal here is to manipulate emotions. You defend your dad too. He's trying to manipulate the audience's emotions. Oh, look at me. I'm such a victim in all of this. He says, I want the tape unredacted in full. He's putting public pressure on the RCMP. Either for some way to prove that he helped or expose the edited tape if it makes him look bad. It's just BS from him. They have a tape of it. Why don't you have a tape of your discussion with the RCMP if it was, so voluntary there, son? I'm talking about the RCMP needing to start to be accountable. It's a bit of a narrative flip on behalf of Derpwood. The RCMP equal the villains to Derpwood. And old Darren Geddes here, a.k.a. Derpwood, he's the victim / whistleblower. How could you people even be involved or with this complete buffoon? Intention is to buy some time, isn't it? Try to regain some control. Try to silence some of his critics by appearing as to be the solver of the case yet again. He already tried this yet. Here we go yet again. It already ruined on each and every channel. It's a cycle with him. He says, these hateful lies from these podcasters, these idiots, stupid, ignorant, hateful people. It's very dehumanizing towards the individuals that he's also speaking to in that sense. This is some distancing language for sure. He's meant to dehumanize his critics. His accusations aren't serious. He refers to this mess as a bit of distancing. He's distancing himself from whatever happened to Jack and Lily in that sense, but he's referring to it in specifics as it being a mess. He's minimizing the dead, missing children, minimizing Jack and Lily. He's also using some distancing language here when he mentions the people responsible. Very vague, isn't it? Vague and plural. But never names anyone. Not even Daniel and Malaya, but he knows who they are. Of course he's sensitive, isn't he? He's very sensitive when it comes to, what triggers his extreme language in that sense. Now, it would probably be, I'm not sure if you could tell by the number of exclamation points, perhaps. Maybe that's what they were for. The trigger would be the rug nonce reference. These accusations that he's bringing up, although I'm not sure where that's coming from. His reaction is to list in full caps, punctuation storm. This triggers also his reputation damage. He's somehow received huge damages. His reaction to this, he states these huge damages from these stupid, ignorant, hateful people. An emotional escalation in that sense. Derpwood is not a cooperative witness in that sense. This is a cornered man trying to rewrite himself as the victim before the walls close in. These are extremely high deception indicators in this sense. Classic damage control. He claims to have handed the RCMP the solution yesterday. Zero cooperation 24 hours later, isn't there, Derpwood? He prioritizes his own image over Jack and Lily in that sense. He's leaking rug ties, case solvability, and the involvement via typos, use of plurals. He avoids every incriminating detail he's previously confirmed. This dude is desperate to flip the narrative with unprovable hero claims and tape demands. Just nonsense. Oh, look at how much of a hero you are, Derpwood. You're also avoiding the core evidence, which is the Thursday visit there, Sunshine. That's what all this is about. Darren Geddes, you're not truth-telling. You're damage controlling. Leave your message for Derpwood in my comments section below, y'all. Peace.